Eja Nla II, an artist's reflection on creating the installation at Oworonshoki-Midian, Lagos. When I embarked on Eja Nla II, I approached it with the awareness that this was both a continuation and a reimagining of scale, identity, and place. Where Eja Nla I stood as a single monumental fish, Eja Nla II sought to engage multiplicity, a school of smaller fish, a collective, at the site of Oworonshoki-Midian, Lagos. The concept was rooted in the same cultural currents, Lagos's aquatic heritage, the Yoruba metaphor of the big fish, and the interplay between community, water, and movement. But this time, the challenge was different: how to translate that heritage into a dynamic formation of many, rather than one, while still commanding public space. Working on this project, the fabrication process was rigorous. Over the months, I built segment after segment in the studio. Logistics of transport and on-site assembly loomed larger. Each individual fish required careful balancing so that as a group they maintained rhythm and cohesion. We explored materials that would be durable in outdoor exposure and yet light enough for suspension or placement in a public space exposed to wind, weather, and movement. One of the main challenges was coordination, not just of pieces, but of vision, ensuring that each fish corresponded in scale, surface finish, and relation to its neighbors required meticulous planning. The transportation of multiple components and coupling them on site in the busy and constrained environment of Oworonshoki added another layer of complexity. We had to align structural supports, anchor points, and ensure safe public interaction while preserving the sense of fluidity and motion. Another challenge: maintaining visual coherence. With many elements rather than a single focal piece, it was easy for something to get lost in repetition or formula. I insisted that each suspended form have slight variation, scale, angle, orientation, so that the school felt alive. On assembly day, as the pieces hovered and aligned, I remember a moment of relief. The light caught the surfaces and the group moved in relation to each other, just as I had hoped. Working outdoors in a public space also meant dealing with external variables: weather, site access, public safety, schedules, and permissions. At one moment, we had to pause because of shifting wind loads. At another, we re-rigged a support point after discovering the original installation zone's structural capacity was less than anticipated. This meant redesigning sub-mounts, recalibrating weights, and working extra hours with fabricators at night to adjust. Yet, despite the pressure, there was immense joy. Watching the final ensemble take shape, seeing passerbys' heads tilt upward, experiencing the interplay of sun and steel, hearing the hum of the city beneath the installation, it all reminded me why I undertake such work. The finished installation, even prior to any formal unveiling, had its own presence. The thousands of tiny reflections, the collective motion of the forms, the way shadows stretched across the pavement like water flowing. What Eja Nla II taught me is that scale is as much about relationship as size. It is about how parts relate to a whole, how movement is suggested in stillness, how public space can become a stage for culture. The structure may stand, but its real life is in interaction, in the shifting light, in the moment when someone pauses and looks up. In reflection, this project reaffirmed that craftsmanship, logistics, collaboration, and imagination are inseparable. The school of fish was not just a metaphor. It was a model for the way creative teams must move together. Many pieces, one vision. And when you mount something in the air above a city's flow, you're not just placing metal and material. You're offering a moment of recognition, of identity, of pause, of